Hi, I'm Nicolene Peck, and years ago I brought troubled youth into my home. One of them struggled with pornography. And she came to me and said, Nicolene, how do I stop pornography from controlling me? So we set up a special plan for her. In this video, I'm going to be telling you about the plan that we set up for her that I think can work for you too. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what your brain does when it sees pornography and how your brain is prepared to stop you from viewing pornography if you are planned ahead of time. Also, we're going to talk about 4 things that you can do, a step-by-step process to help stop pornography from controlling you. Pornography is everywhere. We can see pornography when we're just shopping the store with our parents. We can see pornography as we drive down the road in some cities. And pornography can pop up on our devices. It can be on magazines as we're going through checkout lines at the store. It truly is everywhere. And I know that it is troublesome to have to be surrounded by pornography all the time. Sadly, it's part of our world that we live in nowadays, and we have to figure out how to be in this world, but not let pornography control us. One time I was walking through the store with my son Porter, who's my youngest. He was about 14 years old, and we were walking right through the middle of a Walmart store. And immediately he looked down and he started to cover his eyes. And I said, Porter, are you okay? And he said, Mom, we cannot walk through this underwear section of the store. There's too many bad pictures. And I just don't want to have to think about this stuff or see this stuff. I looked at Porter and I said, Porter, I am so proud of you. That is impressive. You are governing yourself. You have decided ahead of time you don't want to see it, and so you're trying to stop yourself when you get in a compromising situation. And that's what we have to do. So Porter's brain was ready ahead of time to look down or look away so that he would not have to be exposed to that pornographic image again and again as we walked through the store. So what did Porter do to his brain? Before we can talk about that, we need to talk about what happens in Porter's brain, or your brain, when you happen to see pornography. So there's a part of your brain in the middle of your brain called the amygdala. The amygdala handles all of your emotions, and it takes the feelings as they come in and starts processing them. If you get shocked, that creates an emotional trigger in that middle part of your brain, and it will want to look harder, to figure out more, to figure out why it's been shocked or what it's seeing. This is not a good thing to happen because then the picture will stay in your brain longer. And I know that many of us, once we've seen a bad picture, we do not want to have to keep seeing it again and again as it pops up in our brain. Now, if you do see bad pictures and they do come back, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That's just what happens in our brain when we see things. It remembers. And over time, those memories will hopefully become faded so that they're less and less in your brain. And then hopefully that pornographic image will have less of a power to control you. So if we understand that it's the middle part of our brain that's triggered by a pornographic image because it is eliciting some sort of an emotional response, maybe it's shock, maybe it's intrigue, maybe it's passion or stimulation, then we can know that there's other parts of the brain that we can work with still to solve the problem. And that's the beautiful thing about our brains, is there are other parts of the brains that can stop us from having pornographic images pop up again and again and control us. The front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, does all of your logical problem solving. It sorts things, prioritizes things, and tells you what to do and what not to do and why. This is the part of your brain that thinks logical thoughts and makes those concrete decisions that are going to lead to action. Now, the middle part of the brain, the emotional part of the brain, can lead to action too, but it does pass through that front part of the brain before an action is taken. So if we remember that, and we remember that we can choose which action or which thought we want to have before we take any action, then we can stop ourselves from being controlled by bad pictures and pornographic images. So what does that look like? We're going to talk about how to use this front part of the brain to stop your brain from bringing up these pictures again and again, or from getting too caught up in the pictures in the first place. But before we do that, subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of videos on this channel that talk about how you can control yourself. And so you might want to learn more about self-governing you so that you can have more power. And if you're a parent or a teacher, you may want to learn these skills so that you can teach them to the young people in your life. The key thing with utilizing the front part of the brain, that prefrontal cortex, is to make sure that you have pre-planned it ahead of time for what to think in a certain situation. So in order to do this, we're going to start with setting a goal. Setting a goal with your parents or even by yourself is something that you can do to prepare you for future success. So if you know that every time you see a bad picture or a pornographic image, it sucks you in, it captures your attention for a long time, then you know that you've got a thought that's happening in your brain like, ooh, what is that? That's interesting, or something like that. You need to change that thought. So you've got to plan ahead of time what type of a thought you are going to have to shock you out of indulging in looking at that bad picture again and again. So the best thought that you can have is a descriptive thought. What type of a describing thought? You can use just one simple word. The word is pornography. So if you see a bad picture or a pornographic image, you can say to yourself, that's pornography. You've described what it is, and that helps your prefrontal cortex go, wait a minute, what did I decide ahead of time that I would do if I ever saw pornography? And then you're going to follow through with that plan that you've set up as part of your goal. Now, if you are having a problem viewing pornography and you're setting a goal, I highly recommend talking to your parents, letting them know that you want to overcome this habit or this addiction that you might be developing. Because if you feel like you want to do something or see something again and again, and it's controlling you, that's called an addiction. So go to your parents and say, I think I might be addicted, and I want to set a plan and a goal for how to overcome this addiction. And I promise you, your parents will be more than happy to help you because they don't want their child to have to struggle through overcoming an addiction all by themselves. Besides, your parents have already overcome addictions. Almost every single person develops a bad habit at some point in their life, and they have to overcome that. They have to conquer that addiction. So your parents know some things that they can tell you for what it takes to overcome addictions and bad thoughts. But if you want to have something to talk with your parents about, I'm going to share with you some ideas right now that I think you could suggest to your parents as you're making a plan or a goal for how you can overcome these addictive thoughts and these bad pictures that keep popping into your brain, or the desire to go and try to find more of them. A good picture and a bad picture cannot be in your brain at the same time. This is super important to recognize. So this means that good and bad cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So if you happen to get a bad picture in your head, what can you do? What goal could you set up after you say, this is pornography, and you take that device and you put it down? Then what type of an image can you plan ahead of time to put in your head? Is it a spiritual image? Is it a picture of you and your parents doing something fun together? Or maybe it's a song that you're going to hum. Maybe it's a song that's uplifting and focuses on truths. Many people will hum a hymn. When I was a small child, my mother told me, Nicolene, if you ever get a bad thought that comes into your head, just hum a hymn that you've learned at church. Let's pick one for you right now so that you don't have to have those bad thoughts stuck in your head. Because if you hum a hymn, then those thoughts will start to go away. And do you know what? She was right. So I picked a little song called Jesus Said Love Everyone because I was a Christian person. Pick a picture Or pick a song that you can hum so that you replace that space in your brain with a deliberate action that you've pre-planned ahead of time. Talk to your parents about what could be a good image or song for you to choose. The next thing you want to do is talk with your parents about how you're going to report to them. If you have an ongoing problem with pornography controlling you right now, then you're probably going to want to talk to your parents every single day about if you had a pornographic image come into your head and if you were able to chase it away with that song that you were humming or that picture that you chose to look at or think about in your mind. Maybe it's even a poem or a prayer that you would say in your mind. There's so many things that you could choose, but you're going to tell them about your success. You might even keep a calendar, and on that calendar, you're going to put some marks. On a day when you chased all the bad thoughts away, you're going to put a smiley face on the calendar. But on a day where you forgot to chase the bad thoughts away and you maybe indulged in them or you even saw some new bad pictures, you'll probably want to put an X on that day and talk to your parents about it and how you can do better the next time. So check up with your parents regularly, and remember, you don't have to be ashamed for seeing something accidentally or developing a habit because of pornography. Pornography is meant to lure you, to drag you in, and to take possession of your brain. That's the whole point. The people who make pornography want to control you. So you have to choose to have control instead. That's why we're using the front part of the brain, because we can control all of the front part of the brain, and it can keep us going in the direction we want to go. And our parents can help us be in control of us too. Many people nowadays are struggling with pornography, and they are hoping to conquer that addiction so that it doesn't get in the way of having good relationships, good marriages, and families later in life. And I know that you're wanting those same things. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. So, for your future success and happiness, do these things. First, talk to your parents about it and make a goal. A goal for something that you can think or hum or look at every time you see a bad picture or a bad picture pops into your brain. But also remember that when you see pornographic images or bad pictures, that you need to say, "That's pornography," and then put it down wherever it is. Go get mom and dad and say, "I've seen pornography. It's on the computer, or it's on my phone or my tablet right now. Could you come get it off?" Then mom and dad will come and take that image off, and then you can have a talk about it. And you know what? They're going to tell you you did good. They're going to praise you, because that's called self-government, and it is power. Everything I've been talking about in this video has to do with self-government, or being in control of yourself. If you're interested in self-government, then I have a free course that I would like to give you. It's called the Calm Parenting Toolkit. Calmness is vital for self-control. In fact, calmness is important for overcoming pornography addiction as well. We have to not panic. We've got to think about things logically, make plans, and follow through. So in the Calm Parenting Toolkit, you will learn how to keep yourself calm in any situation and how to help your children do the same thing. In the description below this video, there is a link to the Calm Parenting Toolkit. The link says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. If you click on that link right now, then you will get the Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. So click on the link now and I'll see you there.